Alright folks, let's go through all 7 Italian tank destroyers, which include the premium at tier 8, the Vipera, but Wargaming has decided not to release it yet for some reason, so we'll go through all the hidden stats, all the armor profiles, and everything in between. So this video will be a long one, but as always, the timestamps will be in the video bar, description, whatever, so there's a lot of stuff to go through. But before we get started, always make sure you use your blueprints for the later tiers. It's not beneficial or effective to use them at lower tiers. It's not worthwhile. So save them for like tier 8, tier 9, tier 10. And when I go through all the researching, I noticed that most of the modules are not shared, including the gun. So you have to research all the guns at each and every different tier. So the guns are not mostly shared, and you have to use XP for that. Also, the only thing that's shared between all of these vehicles with the medium tank line or the heavy tank line is the radio, and that's it. So you have to research the engine and the turret, obviously, and the guns. So it will take a while. So you have some time to grind, but let's get started. So it starts with the tier 4, the P2640. You research the radio for the M41, and this thing is not a bad sniper of a little tank destroyer. It has a lot of DPM. Accuracy is alright for tier 5, but aim time is quick, 16 degrees per side, 127mm of pen, and 110 alpha. I think it's like a small 75mm. So it's like the nerfed T-67 in a case, but it's a fixed mounted gun, so it's more related to the Stug, but has relatively okayish armor, 50mm at the front, so you could angle it. But let's see, what if we angle this thing? Could we bounce a few shots? Actually, no. Oh, well, we're using a high caliber gun, of course. So let's use a 75mm with about 110mm of pen. Yeah, no. Unless you're face up against like a machine gun, which I don't think so. Like against a Panzer 1C, which doesn't happen anymore. You'll get pinned. So this thing doesn't have armor. It's all 50. 25 for the hull front. That's, yeah, you'll get pinned. 25 for the sides and side of the superstructure. There's no armor. None. 460 health, average-ish. Horsepower per ton ratio is actually not bad, but the top speed is kinda slow, only 35. Reverse of 15. Nah. Camo is actually pretty decent. Radio is kinda crap. So it wants to be a sniper, but you don't have that radio for the full range coverage. You do have the camo though, not the top speed to get into sniping positions. It's also a rapid firing gun, so sometimes you have to use gold shell. And gold shell is 175, which is not half bad, but shell velocity is kinda slow for the high explosive anti-tank. And high explosive is somewhat really slow. But it's 70mm of pen. Yeah, the alpha is not worthwhile for the high explosive, unless you're killing like low health targets, but it has a lot of DPM, like a lot. Let's quickly jump to tanks.gg. So angle is decent, but it's 16 and 16, so 16 to each side, 8 degrees of gun depression, carry 65 rounds. Ammo cost is also not that expensive. Dispersion factor is kind of crap when you're moving the vehicle, but not bad when you're moving the gun. So don't worry about adjusting to targets, but don't move while shoot, if that makes sense. Terrain resistance is mediocre for such a light vehicle. How much does this thing weigh? It's only 14 tons. That's not much. Why does it have garbage terrain resistance? Oh, well, top speed is also kind of crap. It's like the DPM of something like this thing. But yeah. Oh, they nerfed it too. They nerfed the T-67. That's right. It's more in line with the Wolverine now. Yeah, it's more in line with the 𝘈𝘳𝘥𝘥𝘦, but it doesn't have the traversable turret, so also it doesn't have the accuracy or the aim time. Also the top speed. Yeah, you'll have better time with the 𝘈𝘳𝘥𝘥𝘦, but for about the same alpha, it costs you 33% less in terms of credits. So technically, this makes more credits than that vehicle. Alright, moving on. I think I will give this vehicle a solid 6.5 based on the speed. It's above average based on the DPM, but nothing else that's really noteworthy. It's not really that fast or, you know, mobile in a sense. Moving on to tier 6. Alright, tier 6 we have the Bassotto. So similar to the tier 5, the Semovente M41, but it's a larger caliber of a gun. It's a 102. Interesting. But this thing also has a derp gun. 105 derp gun. No, you don't use the derp gun. It has a lot of DPM. Yeah, look at the aim time. Look at the crappy accuracy. No, you don't use the derp gun unless you're spamming the gold shell. No. Alright, so tier 6. Penetration is actually pretty decent, 175. So it's like the Hellcat in a sense, but that alpha is kind of huge for a tier 6 vehicle. So it's like the SU-122, not the SU-122, the SU-85-122 or something. I don't know, it's the Russian thing. But DPM is actually pretty good. Accuracy is garbage. Aim time is actually decent. 11 degrees to each side. SU-100, that's the one. But it has a 122. 5 degrees of gun depression, suck. 15 elevation. Gun traverse speed is not half bad. So it's like a SU-100 with a 122 practically. Has no armor. 75 at the front. Garbage. Let's see. Yeah, it has no armor. Yeah, it's all green. Even with a 75mm doing 110mm of pin, you have no armor. You get pinned. 75 at the front, 45 at the sides, 25 for the side skirts, underneath the side skirts, and 20 for the side skirts. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. You get pinned. 25 for the upper deck of the hull. You have no armor. Nope. Alright, 600 health, average, slightly below average, but whatever. A lot better. Well, not really. Horsepower per turn ratio is 19, which is not bad, but still, top speed is only 35. The reverse of 15. Hull traverse is fast, so it's quite nimble in a spot, but it's not going to go anywhere fast. Alright, camo, even better than tier 5. Yeah. Well, horsepower per turn ratio is about the same. Never mind, I thought it was only like 15 or so. Okay. Oh god, why does the radio still suck? View range is not that much better. Yeah, I have the top radio on. God, the radio suck ass. Well, it has a powerful gun and a lot of DPM. Not bad penetration too, so it's like the Russian, but it only has a 3-man crew, so safe gunner stuff is out of the question. Huh. Is that the same with the... Wow, they don't have a gunner for lower tiers? They don't have snapshot then, or module damage plus. That's unfortunate. But then again, lower tiers, whatever. So, the Bassotto... Oh, we're using the derp gun. You can also mount it. No, we're not using the derp. Wait, why do you have so many guns? Let's see which one's which. The 102, not the derp gun. That's the 102. So, penetration, pretty good. DPM is also good, but not as good as the the high explosive shell. Dispersion is about the same as tier 5, so nothing new there. Same goes with terrain resistance, nothing new there. 5 degrees of gun depression. It's a little bit more narrow in terms of gun arc. Minus 11 to 11, and not minus 16. Shell velocity is 900. It fires APCR round as default. What the frick? And gold shell is high explosive anti-tank. Yeah, okay. Let's use the actual game page, because that's a little bit more efficient. Not bad APCR round speed, but still, it's about the same as AP. High explosive anti-tank is a little bit slower. Same goes with high explosive, but yeah. I think I give 6.5 for the tier 5. This one is like comparing with SU-100 with the 122. SU-100 with the 122. Yep. So you have less alpha, of course, the same pin, but you punch more DPM out. Holy crap! And you're a little bit more accurate. Dispersion is the same. You carry 60 rounds of the 102. Wow. And it costs a lot cheaper. By half. While doing only 30 less damage. This is a good gun. Well, for a burst damaging type of gun, this is a pretty good gun. You're slower though. So unfortunate. Yeah, top speed of only 35 compared to 50. You do have better horsepower per ton ratio. So a lot better effective traverse. 91 degrees per second. That is crazy. I think that might be glitch, but that is insane. That turns pretty quick. 6 degrees gun depression and minus 12 to 12. A little bit less health and weaker engine. A lot weaker engine. So this engine is practically prone to being knocked out from like artillery or something. Better camo. Better view range. Better chance to catch on fire. And more garbage of a radio. There's no gunner, so you cannot take advantage of the caliber damage versus modules. So you cannot take advantage of that without the perk from gunners. This is like decent of a burst. Well, if you get caught out, this has a lot of goddamn damage. That's a ton of damage. But yeah, it's actually more worthwhile for the lower tiers, the tier 5 and the tier 6, to make credits. It costs almost the same between the shell of this, or the alpha of this gun with the alpha of the SU-100, the 122, but the shell price is half of that for just 30 less damage. This might be a 7. Well, if you're grinding credits, this might be a 7. So I think it's above average, but it's still somewhat slow without armor, so that might be the downfall. But it has the camo, so it's like a 𝘚𝘵𝘮𝘮𝘮. It's not fast, but it has camo, and it punch pretty goddamn hard. So on an open field map like Prologue, this thing will be pretty good. Considering the, well, you have to queue into pretty terrible players to allow you to DPM them. But accuracy is, I mean, still better than the SU-100, so it's still workable. But that alpha, coupled with the credit making capability, yeah, 7. Not bad. I mean, I'm a tank destroyer player, but that radio is still kind of crap. Yeah, you just need some heavy tanks in front of you, and you provide support. So it's like a premium, almost. Almost. Alright, moving on to the tier 7. The CC-56. You have a choice of 2 turrets, so we'll go through the stock turrets and the armor afterwards. But you have a choice between the 90 and the 105. About the same pin. About the same DPM as well. 1800 or so. Accuracy is a lot worse on the 105. 0.42 compared to 0.38. But let's take a look at the stock turret before we move on to the actual turret. So armor profile. Alright. Ooh, well, we're using a 75mm with 110mm pin. That's not going to cut it. So let's go back to the default, the 120 with about, let's say, 230mm of pin. That's a little bit too much. So let's use 105 with about 200mm of pin. T29 gun. So upper plate is about 220. Not bad for a tier 7. Turret armor is only about 200-ish. 145 slow backwards. Okay. Matlet is about 300. Wow. Don't shoot the matlet. So stock turret wise, you have a commander cupola, that's the weak spot. The hull or the turret roof is 55 slow backwards, so you're not overmatching that at low tiers. There is a crevice of only 30, so taller tanks like the T29, the the Tiger 1 or the Porsche Tiger or the IS series will overmatch the hull roof. Don't shoot the cheeks, that's pretty thick. 205, slow backwards. So upper plate is actually pretty decent, but this is only the stock turret. So lower plate is also pretty decent. But moving on to the actual modified turret. So with the modified turret, this thing has a lot better armor, supposedly. Well, let's see. Hull is obviously the same. Cheeks are now 260, so a lot more effective cheeks. You definitely want this upgrade to the turret as soon as possible. Mantlet, it's only 260, so not as strong of a mantlet, but still pretty thick, so that's good. Yeah, the turret is a must. It's a must upgrade. The commander cupola gets a lot smaller too. Yeah, it's still about 120 or so, but it's like the American 𝘚𝘵𝘢𝘵𝘮 cupolas afterwards, or modified cupolas. Let's take a look at the actual stock cupola just to be sure. Yeah, it's smaller than the stock cupola. So yeah, definitely go towards the turret upgrade. Alright, back to the garage so we can see with the actual vehicle. I chose for now mount this thing, and let's see with the 105. So the 105 has garbage year accuracy, and that's practically it. It has more alpha at the cost of accuracy. So DPM at tier 7 is actually okay. It's still workable considering the nerf to the T29. It's no Tiger 1 DPM, but still not that bad. 0.4 accuracy. Close range fighting vehicle. Aim time is alright for such a gun. It's 105. 10 degrees of gun depression. 30 gun arc to each side, which is actually decent. Slower to rotate compared to the tier 6, obviously. Reloads at 17 seconds. Takes about 7 seconds between each shot, so still kinda hefty long, but you only have 3 rounds in the clip. And penetration is like a IS-2 or IS in a sense. How the hell do I feel about this gun? Dispersion while traversing the tank is actually not bad, as well as the turret, but moving is pretty crap. Alright. 3-round clip, 7 seconds between each shot. You have 42 rounds. Shell velocity is meh, average-ish. 540 credits per shell. You do carry a lot of ammo, so that's good, but shell velocity is about the same across the board, so average. I wonder if the 90 is more worthwhile. So let's take a look at the 90. You have more DPM, better accuracy, about the same aim time, but less alpha. So you have to... Oh, it's a single shot. It's not autoloader or pseudo weird autoloader thing. It's a single shot. This gun might be more consistent. Might be. So 90 compare this 90. So better DPM. Less pen at range. Okay. But you have a faster reload. It's not clipped though. Shell velocity. Oh my gosh. Why is the shell velocity so slow? Only 750, 760. About the same potential damage, so you're not missing out. Carries about 55 rounds. Faster traverse the gun. Makes more sense, obviously. But why is the shell velocity so goddamn slow? Holy crap. I mean, if it had like 1,000 meters per second shell velocity, it's not a bad contender to the Top Gun by using the second 90mm. But why is it so crap in terms of shell velocity? You cannot snipe with this gun unless you're like a god across the map. That's an interesting debate. The armor is still worthwhile. So 1200 health at tier 7, which is about the same as a heavy tank, so quite chunky. Already took a look at the armor, so quick refresh. The armor is decent. and it will stop most tier 7 guns, maybe tier 8 guns too for the turret. You still have the weak spot on top of the... That's a commander cupola, that's a loader cupola. The commander has more periscope, obviously, but... I mean, it might fill the gap where the T29 left off, but it's a toss-up of using the 90 or the 105. Which gun do you use? They all have about the same aim time and penetration. One has better alpha and one has better accuracy, but the one with better accuracy has god-awful shell velocity. This one's interesting to calculate a rating for. What the hell do I rate this thing? Well, I haven't go through the mobility yet, so let's not jump the gun. Side armor is only 60, so not the best at side scraping. Don't even side scrape. Just poke the front out. You'll have like 260mm effective. Lower plate is about 210, so just poke the front out. It's like a Porsche Tiger, but... Alright, mobility. Not as powerful of horsepower per ton ratio as the tier 6, obviously. Top speed is still crap, about 31, reverse of 10, hull traverse 26, so it's getting chunkier. It weighs like 3 times more than the tier 6. Yeah, weighs 3 times more. Super heavy tank, compared to the light tank destroyer. Mobility with terrain resistance, about the same as tier 6. So, kinda makes you wonder why the tier 6 has crappy terrain resistance, but moving back to the 105. Effective top speed of 31. You're not going anywhere fast. Anyways, you do have better engine health now. And concealment, it's like a medium tank, so not half bad, but not as good as the actual tank destroyers or sneaky tank destroyers. View range is still crap. It's actually less than the tier 6. What the frick? And radio is still crap. I already upgraded the radio and the turret. The frick? It has less view range than its predecessor at a lower tier. What the yeah, it's a frontline vehicle, and people will get intimidated by the armor, of course, but it's a close range, slow vehicle fighter. So, will they be caught off guard with the autoloader? That's a big question. So, would you rather use the 90 or use the 105? This is a hard debate. The 105 has a surprise factor because of how fast it reloads, but it only carries the 3 shells before you reload for 17 seconds. You cannot put a rammer, so we'll talk about equipment at the end, but we'll talk about field modifications at the end as well, so wait for that. But radio is still crap, view range is still crap. It's not going anywhere fast, so it's like playing with a Porsche Tiger, but you don't have a gigantic cupola for the commander to worry about. I think it's still decent, and let's compare with the Alpha just to be sure if the credit making capability is still there. It's about 105, so similar to a, what the hell, Yak Tiger 105? 360? Oh, 320, sorry. Well, it doesn't have the DPM. Wait. What the hell does a Yak Panther have that much DPM? What the hell we're doing? Really? Yak Panther has like about 2,500 DPM? Holy crap, I need to play more of that. Jesus. Well, it costs less. Again, for the same alpha compared to a similar alpha gun of a tank destroyer. Compared to a heavy tank? Like the Tiger King Capture King Tiger? Oh, yeah, it's a different, it's an 88mm. What the hell am I doing? Let's just compare with T29. What the hell is the T29? With the 105. Yep, about the same alpha. Yeah, it costs like half for the same alpha. So basically, for the lower tier Italian tank destroyers, you can actually make some credits based on the cost of the shells. So provided you don't spam too much and miss, but Surprising, all the shells are actually relatively cheap compared to the same alpha for other guns at the same tier. Interesting. Well, it's like a premium almost. Still, you have a garbage view range. This is like a 6.5. I don't know how I feel about the armor. You still have the weak spots, so like a 6.5. If it has the premium making credit capability or pseudo premium capability, then it's like a 7. One of the first predicate is the Italian tank destroying American, such as the T-95 medium tank, not the Doom Turtle, supposedly. Yeah, 6.5. Alright, moving on to the tier 8, which you should get more interesting. It's going to be a long ass video. Alright, tier 8, we have a stock turret to go through first, but you have to research all the guns as well. Actually, you can only research the 120 after you research the turret, so you don't need to research the turret for the 105. The 105, compare with the 120, about the same DPM, same accuracy, aim time. It's both autoloaders, so nothing to worry about. I mean, one has slightly better penetration than Alpha, but takes slightly longer to reload. I don't know. I think it's more worthwhile to see with a better turret, right? Because you get better view range. 360. Oh my god, why is it still crap for the view range? Why is the view range still crap? Alright. Let's go with the stock turret. So let's take a look at the stock turret to see how bad it is or how good it is, depending on the situation. It reminds me of the E4 turret a little bit. Thick, rectangular shape. About 400 millimeters effective. That is pretty huge. Side of the cheeks about 250-ish, 260. So likely attracting gold shell, but the cupola on top, is that the commander or loader? One of which. That is the weak spot, so a lot more prominent compared to the tier 7, but still this is the stock turret. So for now, you could bounce a few shots if you gun the press, but the middle of the mantlet is only 220, so worry about this part when you're stock grinding. And let's move on to the actual upgraded turret. There we go. And with that, you have no more big ass cupola to worry about. Yeah, no more. That's great. And the cheeks are still about 270-ish to 80-ish, so still pretty goddamn thick. There's no mantlet weak spot to worry about anymore, so yeah, focus always on to getting better turret, at least for the middle tiers. But researching the turret first and mount that. And we'll take a look at the firepower of the 120 since this is the biggest of the guns. So with the 120, you have 226 millimeters of pen. DPM is still kind of bad. It's like the tier 7. Accuracy is like the tier 7, but you have a better aim time. Gun depression of 10 degrees, 35 to each side, so a little bit better. Traverse is about the same, about 24 seconds for 3 rounds. And it still takes about 7 seconds between each shot, but each shot deals 400 now compared to 320. Shell velocity is not half bad, average, but a lot better than 800 or 700. High explosive anti-tank is 300 millimeters of pen, and usually you don't want to run too much high explosive because of the weird reload system, but it actually has 120 millimeter pen for the high explosive. Huh. You might get away with something. It's is it a HESH round? It's just a normal high explosive, but somehow it has a pretty decent pen. So you might want to carry some more of the HESH round for like Waffentraegers or something, but not half bad of a high explosive, surprisingly. And let's take a look at dispersion. That's a little bit more different. Alright, so we have the 120. Dispersion for moving is the only worst one. Traversing the tank and moving the turret is pretty decent, so nothing to worry about there. That's for the 120. Let's take a look at that 105. The same for the 105, so nothing to worry about there as well. That's good. Moving back to 120, you carry about 45 rounds, also decent. Let's see if the shell price is about the same with a 120mm gun. For example, the French. You don't have as much credit making capability now. It's not like half of that for the price. Well, that's unfortunate. I want it to be a premium. Let's compare it with the Vipera. It's the same cost as the Vipera, but Vipera is a premium, so it makes more credit in terms of repair costs and other stuff. Is the 105 better? It has more DPM and better accuracy. Faster intershell reload of 5 seconds compared to 7. Still a 3-round clip, but you reload a lot faster of 17 seconds. Shell velocity is faster. You have less module damage, of course, but it costs less. It's actually competitive to maybe use the 105 compared to the 120, but it's up to you, of course. So the same accuracy and actually accuracy is better. The same aim time, right? Aim time is actually better too. I'm thinking about dispersion. Same dispersion. Accuracy is actually better on the 105. That's a real choice, but you have to research another 105 to get to it, so have to dump XP, but yeah. Choices, I actually do like it. Multiple choice, more options, but you have more DPM. You have less of a burst or surprise, but you can take the damage with the armor, right? So 1300 health. Only 100 better than the tier 7. What the frick? It doesn't have as much health as a heavy tank at tier 8. Like 1500 or so. But we already covered the turret, so let's take a look at the hull. 230 for the upper plate. That's pretty thick. I mean, especially hull down, so good. There is a strip of 260. That's what's advertised, but it's a pretty goddamn small strip. So you might troll with this strip, but most of the time, the lower plate is about 210. Unless you're shooting like the belly. And that's super well sloped. 60mm, but turret front, like I said, pretty thick. And especially hull down, still pretty thick. Alright. Yeah, upper plates. Always hull down. Always. But I forgot to mention, these things have a weird gun depression. It is 10 degrees at the front, but for the sides you get to 8 degrees. So it's kind of a weird windshield wiper effect where you only get like 8 at best out of all of them. So just be wary of that. The same applies. Well, not really. I thought it was the same applying to the tier 7. So only start at tier 8. Alright, it starts at tier 8. The same applies to the Vipera too. I remember from that, but alright. Mobility 15, so not as slow as the tier 7. And 35 kilometers per hour top speed is better, but not the fastest. Still weighs about 48 tons. Hull traverse is actually a little bit faster. Terrain resistance is about the same. So same terrain resistance, same bog downness, but you do have 35 compared to like 33 or 30 of the tier 7. Alright, camo and view range. Camo is still a medium tank. View range is still crap. Radio is still crap. God dang it. We only gone halfway through, and why is the freaking view range and radio still garbage? It's a set. Well, I always say it's a 7, depending on your situation, but still feels like a 6.5. It doesn't feel that fast or intimidating, especially with the garbage view range. And well, it's a 7. It's a little bit faster. I'll give it a 7. And the gun's more workable with the 105 compared to the 120. So you might get surprised of which gun they're using, but the turret front is still kind of impenetrable unless you're spamming gold shell, and some gold shell like APCR rounds will lose penetration at distance. So yeah, I think 7.25 now, depending on the armor and haul down tactics. But for the rest of the vehicle, it's still crap. 60. Yeah, there's nothing for the sides. And it's like a little van of sorts. Like a little... Reminds me of the Excalibur. A little bit. The reward, tier 6 for the Brits. 7.25. I don't remember. I have to go back to the video to judge all of them. I think 6.5, 7, 6.5, and 7.25 or something, if my memory serves correctly. Moving on to tier 9. Jeez. Alright, tier 9, stock turret. You also have an option to grind through a bunch of guns, but you need the upgraded turret for the better 127 compared to the 120. Let's see how good the stock turret is. So is it the same situation where you should upgrade the turret ASAP? Well, yeah, there is only 40 millimeters at the bulge for the top. I think that's still for the loader or commander, one of which, but they all have a lot of periscopes, so you cannot tell. But it's a little bit smaller compared to the tier 8 version, and if you're not exposing your vehicle while you're on a downward slope, then there's nothing to worry about. But yeah, it's more protective compared to the tier 8 stock turret. Upper plate is about 300. Oh god. 290. Holy crap. That is pretty thick. Lower plate 100. Covered the lower plate. So it's like the Chinese tank destroyers with garbage lower plate, but it has a turret now. Cheeks of the turret, super thick. Holy crap. 290 for the front. Sloped. Matlet is thick. Yeah, it's a pretty strong, pretty strong stock turret. So stock grind with this vehicle is not as bad, but side armor is 70, side of the turret is 70. Don't expose your sides. Top of your roof is only 40. Engine deck is 30. You get artillery. So don't expose your back or your sides or your top or something. I don't know, but not half bad. Let's move on to the upgraded turret, and we'll take a look at the firepower before we get moving. So with the upgraded turret, you should boost all of the guns stats like DPM or aim time and stuff. You have a 127 and a 120. So with the 127, we have 255 millimeters of pin, about 500 alpha. So it's like the German 128s a little bit. 0.4 accuracy again, 0.26 aim time, about the same, but you have about 2,500 DPM, which is a lot better compared to the tier 8. 10 degrees of gun depression, 40 elevation to each side, or 40 degrees to each side. Slower traverse for the turret, slightly, and 23 seconds, but you carry 4 rounds instead of 3, and 8 seconds between each shot. Now, the alpha is scary with this gun. Shell velocity wise, not half bad. Above average for AP. High explosive anti-tank is slow. High explosive is slow, but high explosive still packs a decent penetration. Huh. Dispersion wise, let's see. Dispersion wise, still pretty decent, especially for turret traverse. It snapshots pretty quick. Moving is also better now, so that's good. Let's see if the shell price is comparable to a premium tank. So compare this with like a 𝘓𝘓𝘓𝘓. No, it's a stock 𝘓𝘓𝘓𝘓 gun. Never mind. Hold on a second. Not the upgraded 128. Which one is the? That's the upgraded 128. The Ferdinand gun with the about the same alpha. Oh, you cost a little bit more, so kind of flipped. Shell price starts to go up, and you're paying more for the same alpha. The alpha, same as the IS-7 gun, right? Well, actually, it get boosted. The 130 on the 263. Yeah, you're paying a little bit more for the shell price with that alpha. Surprising. Huh. It was the other way at tier 7. Why do you have to flip around? That's not fun. Alright, let's see about the 120. 120 has less DPM by a lot. Less penetration by a lot. Also, not as accurate in terms of snapshotting. Less module damage, of course. Slower shell velocity. Less potential damage because you only carry 4 less rounds. You do move faster in terms of elevating and depressing the gun, but that's not much. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think this gun, this 120, is more worthwhile or competitive or alternate solution compared to the 127. You want to use the 127. And let's see, shell velocity is slower. High explosive round is also slower. Yeah, use the 127. That settles that debate. You carry the 127, don't carry the 120. Alright, moving back to the armor. 1,900 health. Why is the health jump so dramatic? It's 1,300 to 1,900. Shouldn't this be like 1,500? That's a lot of health jump. Alright, I mean, I'll take it. So tier 9 is more one-sided for the 127. And especially for the health. But with the upgraded turret, Wargaming said that these rangefinders were weak spots. They appear to be the same as the T29-ish of a design. You do have a strip of 140, but that is pretty small. Yeah, don't even think about it. And if you're gun depressed, yeah, it's super small. You're not gonna hit that. There's a small sponson right here of 20 millimeters, so you might get unlucky and get pinned right here. But most of the time, upper plate is 300 while you're hauled down, and turret front is super thick. They will shoot your lower plate or they will get to the sides. But yeah, the front of this thing is thick, like real thick. Or unless if they're tall enough, they could overmatch the 45 millimeter. If they have a large caliber gun, like a 155 or something, but it's still a small strip, and most of the time face hugging will still be very super powerful. What about this bulge in the back for the machine gun? That's not considered. Alright, this is nothing. Top of the roof is only 115, still pretty goddamn thick. You're not overmatching all of these. Yeah. I mean, is it better than tier 8? That's the question. I think the gun is a lot better, and the health is a lot better, but other than that, the performance of the armor is about the same. And the mobility. So, yeah, same top speed, same garbage ass horsepower per turn ratio, and hull traverse. It weighs more, so that's a plus. Terrain resistance, the same. But you do have 40 degrees per side to the gun. Still have a windshield wiper effect, so only 10 degrees at the front, but you only get like 8.5 now compared to 8 for each side. That's good. Also, you have a loader now, or a gunner now, compared to the lower tier. You also have a gunner. Yeah, stopping at tier 6, you don't have a gunner, but whatever. Concealment, medium tank. Slightly moving towards like a heavy tank now, but fat medium. View range is better than the tier 8. 380. Oh, yeah, 360. And radio is a lot better now. Jeez, radio is like 400 and 500. It's all piece of turd. This one's like a 7.5 or maybe 8. Considering the gun, considering the DPM and the effectiveness of the turret, I think it might be a 7.75. It gets better. There's no choices compared to the tier 8. That's fine. You just always use the 127. Yeah, 7.75. I don't think it's that bad. The only downside I could think of is they try to hit this little view range thingy or hit the lower plate, but I still think it's... I mean, it has a lot more health to work with, so... yeah, this might be an 8. Yeah, this one, the tier 8 version might be a 7.25 just because of the lower health. Yeah, this health could be better, like 1500. Yeah, this was luckily an 8. I think it's an 8. And finally, onto the tier 10, the Minotauro. So no turret upgrade to worry about, but I think it's a 130? 130mm auto loader thingy-majig, but 255mm of pin is actually kind of crap. For a tank destroyer gun, it has the same pin as the 127. But then again, this is more like a heavy tank than a tank destroyer, so give or take 530 alpha. Alright, but let's see if we still have the credit making comparison. So compare this with a... Which gun has about the same alpha? Jeez, it's a tier 9 alpha gun now. It's like the 𝘏𝘃𝘮𝘰. So about the same as the 𝘏𝘃𝘮𝘰. Yeah, you're paying a lot more. 130? Yeah, it's close to the 130 on the SU. The Object 263, but yeah, you're paying a lot more. Why the... So this shell is kind of a gold sink. Huh, let's compare with the high explosive anti-tank. High explosive or APCR. So let's see if the gold shell costs about this. No, the gold shell costs almost double, or at least 1.5. That is the downside to play with this thing. You need to have credits, cause the shell price is kind of different. Oh gosh. Yeah, you're paying. It's how weird how the lower tiers don't pay as much for the same alpha, whereas the higher tiers pay more for the same alpha. That has to be considered. All right, I mean, take that into effect, I guess. Most of the other guns, there's no, or maybe the Badger. You're paying still more. I mean, it's a little bit more alpha, but not like 33% more. No. Alright, folks, just be wary of that for the Minotauro. What the hell is a Minotauro? The frick? There it is. So the Minotaur eats money like crazy. Alright, dispersion is actually still pretty decent. So that's not a half bad thing. Shell velocity for AP round is fast, 40 rounds. DPM is actually pretty good for that big of a gun. Accuracy 0.42 is still garbage, but more garbage compared to the tier 9 from 0.4 to 0.42. Aim time is a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little bit better, but Shell velocity fast for AP. High explosive anti-tank is also fast, and high explosive is still decent in terms of penetration, now with faster shell velocity behind it, so all of the high explosives are actually decent, surprisingly. But you carry 5 rounds in the clip. Takes about 23 seconds between each clip load, and 8 seconds between each shot. 10 degrees to the gun depression, 45 to each side, but it still has the windshield wiper effect, but you get like 9.1 now instead of like 8.5, so just be wary of the 1 degree of gun depression difference. But hey, same 4-man crew. The gun is credit sink practically, just because of the AP round and the high explosive anti-tank for some reason. Alright, moving on to armor. 2100 health. It's like a turtle, a little bit, but has decent enough health. It's almost like a light heavy tank, like a Object 277 or so. But let's take a look at the armor. Oh god, this is going to eat money. This is going to eat a lot of money. So without gun depressing, cheeks are 240. 240? 420, blaze it. 240. 300mm slope backwards. 420, blaze it. You do have a cupola weak spot for likely the loader on top, so you have to really gun depress to hide that. But it's a small strip still, so it's like the trying to snipe the periscopes on a Object 268 version number 4, in a sense, to the starboard side of the vehicle. Upper plate is about, you're not penetrating, unless you're using like Yak Panzer E100s, high explosive anti-tank round with 420mm of pen. You're not penetrating this, not even close. Lower plate, still decent too, about 230-ish millimeters without angling or gun depressing. And don't shoot the sponsons supporting the road wheels or the drive wheels. So it's like the T110E5 kind of a design, but gun depressing, thick. There's still the sponson weak spot, so shooting above the tracks into the hull, that might be the downside, but it's a small sliver. Don't even think about it. Yeah, don't even think about it. Side armor's crap. Don't even think about side armor. No, side armor's crap. Rear armor is only 20 for the engine deck and 30 for top of the turret. So still, all the armor is at the front. Okay. It's such a... Why is it a money sink to play with this thing? 57 tons. Chunky boy. Only 12 horsepower per ton ratio. 36 kilometers per hour top speed. 12 reverse. And the same Hulk reverse throughout all the freaking vehicles. Concealment, medium tankish, heavy medium tankish. View range is 390, a little bit better now, but how the hell would I rate this thing? Its terrain resistance is the same, so terrain resistance hasn't been changed since like tier 6. Why is the money cost so dramatic to that alpha comparison? Let's see about heavy tanks with a 130mm gun like the IS-7. Yeah, your shell cost is almost 50% more just for 40 more alpha. This is an expensive shell. What about the... I think the 780 has a 130, right? Or... yeah, this has a 130, but you're paying like 25% more or 33% more for the same alpha. This thing is a money sink. Also with the gold shell, as you saw. Oh my god, it's like a 7. I mean, it's good. Okay, not thinking about the money cost for a second. This thing is a pretty decent vehicle. It's super thick at the front. It can adjust itself to a lot of DPM. Sure, it's like a 8 as well. But the money sink is a big ass problem. So unless you're using like a premium account, this is like a 7.5 or something. Without the money thing, it's like a 8, I think. Maybe even a little bit more, 8.25. God, the money sink is such a big ass problem. Alright, we already covered the Vipera like for a bunch of times, so we won't spend that much time, but I think it's a decent, whatever it is, like a 7. Originally, I reviewed it. View range is still crap. Top speed is still crap, but the armor is still pretty decent. It's a premium, so it makes more credit and crew XP. Doesn't have the commander cupola weak spot compared to the CC-63 or something, if I remember the name correctly. But yeah, it doesn't have the cupola weak spot. Upper plate is about 240, so still pretty thick. Middle of the plate is 240 compared to only like a strip of 260 on the tier 8. Is it like CC-63 or 65? No, 67. Never mind. Is this a 63? Let's see. Vipera is... great. You can't even tell me that. It doesn't even tell me which number it is. Shoot. Okay, 67. CC-67. This thing only has like a strip of 260 millimeters. And the stock turret is not as good. So... yeah, Vipera is still decent. I think like a 7.25 or something out of 10. Alright, so let's quickly go through the equipments and we'll wrap up with field modifications. So, equipments for all of them. I think for firepower wise, you might want accuracy boost because all of them have garbage accuracy. So accuracy boost is likely good to be good. Vents for the survivability slot unlock. And finally, I think top speed will be a little bit better than view range. all of them have garbage view range anyways. So mobility helps out with the dogfights or brawling with heavy tanks. So I think mobility is better in close range combat. Optics is better if you're open field maps, but you just have scouts to scout for you. So I think turbocharger is better. Let's unlock the field mods. All of them. So all of them are the same. You only start to differentiate at tier 9, but all of them are assault guns or assault tank destroyers, so there are no difference. You need a bunch of... Oh, it will cost you about 1 million XP to unlock all of them, so about the same as a 780. So let's just use all of them. So for tank destroyer wise, always go with the first one. This one will improve your terrain resistance and your track health, so it's a lot better than the second one. Alright, I can just show you. So going to tank destroyers, the Minotauro, the credit muncher, unlock all of the stuff. So for the first one, you increase the terrain resistance by decreasing the hull traverse speed. It might look bad for hull traverse, but effective traverse is 26. So compare that with no modification, 23. So you actually get a boost to hull traverse speed. If you put the second one on, you actually get a minus to hull traverse speed. But yeah, I think the first one is obviously better, right? The first one, you get more track health, you get better traverse, and there's no drawback. Always go with the first one, no question. Second one, accuracy or aim time. Ooh, since it's already fast to aim for some of them, like the Minotauro, you get better accuracy, obviously. But for some of them who have garbage aim time, like 2.6 or 2.7-ish, I think better aim time is better than accuracy, even though accuracy is already crap. So this is only accuracy for the Minotauro and aim time for the rest, because accuracy is already garbage. But the third one is concealment after you fire or view range. Obviously more view range, right? Obviously. The other stuff suck. Concealment after firing. Ooh, it changes from 2.3 to 2.4. Ooh la la, that's horseshit. Always go with more view range. Ammo rack configuration. So better DPM at the cost of health or crew protection from explosions and stuff. Oh man. 50 health for like 40 more alpha. Or 40 more DPM. Not alpha. 40 more DPM for 50 health. No, okay, I always have a little bit more health since you have better protection from injuries. I think this one will be better. Passive safety system. Yes, you do get a cut to DPM by like 30 or 40. That's not that much, right? But you do have better protection from like using your med kit of knocking out a gunner or driver. So I think this one will be better. And finally, we have suspension repair speed and engine power or reverse speed. It already has a boost if you already put the turbocharger, so I would likely put better engine power because their engine power is kind of crap. Same goes with having better repair speed for your tracks. If your tracks get blown off, you're a heavy tank, so better repair speed for tracks is kind of essential. So I think this one will be better. And overall, I think this is such a credit muncher of a goddamn Minotauro. You eat money to play. Why do you eat so much money? I wonder if the shell cost for the 130 is the same as the shell cost for something like a 183. Actually, it costs considerably less than a 183, but still. For the alpha of double, you don't have double less the cost. So maybe compared to like a Grill 15. So yeah, you have the same shell cost as a Grill 15, but you only deal 33% less damage. Alright, so Minotauro is decent, but it eats money. It eats a lot of money. Lower tier is actually fun for making credits, so you won't burn out as much credit. Higher tiers are somewhat flipped. So I think this was a 6.5, this was a 7, this was a 6.5 or 6.75, this is like a 7.25 or 7.5-ish. This is like a 8, I think. And this is like a 8.25 without the money thing. With the money thing, it's like a 7.5 or so. Vipera is the original score I gave it, but there you go, folks. An hour of me talking to myself. So thank you guys for sticking around so long, but holy crap. This thing eats money. Same shell price as a Grill 15 with your less alpha and less penetration. Same thing applies to the gold shell. So let's use the gold shell just to be sure. Alright, gold shell with gold shell of the Grill 15 costs 6,000 credits. So same gold shell for both high explosive anti-tank, 130 compared to the 150. But you have less alpha, more pen, so that's good. This thing eats money, so just be wary of that. This is the only vehicle I think eats that much money. I don't know, I haven't checked out all the vehicle in terms of the credit making or shell price, but this one eats money. Freaking Minotauro is a credit muncher. But thank you guys for watching and sticking around for so long. So interesting. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this new patch. I personally will enjoy the matchmaking change and the new maps, as well as the map balance and other stuff. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.